Hello. This is the Bible in fewer words. We are Carol and Steve Wells. This is episode 263, the Gospel of John, chapters 3 through 5. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Carol.
Am I going to like the book of John?
I don't think you will, but that's just a guess on my part. Everybody reacts differently to different books.
Does this mean you don't like it very much?
I think Jesus' personality in the Gospel of John is quite different than in the other Gospels. He's kind of preachy, talks a lot, and he says some things that I find disturbing, kind of unpleasant. We've had some of that before, hate your family and all that, but...
Now I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Okay.
Chapter 3. A Pharisee named Nicodemus came to Jesus and said to him, "Rabbi, we know you are a teacher from God, because you couldn't do miracles without God."
Jesus said to him, "You must be born again to see the kingdom of God."
Nicodemus said, "How can an old man be born again? Can he enter his mother's womb a second time?" That's a very practical question.
Yes, it is. Well, it must have freaked him out. You got to be born again. That's not possible. Jesus said, "As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, the Son of Man will be lifted up."
And how does that get a person to be born again?
I don't know. You'll notice that I went from verse 5 to verse 14. As I say, Jesus talks a lot, and it doesn't seem to address the question that's being asked. The reason I included this is because I thought it was interesting that Jesus is referring to something that we've had before in previous
I remember.
episodes. The people were complaining about the lack of food and water.
Okay.
And God's response was to send snakes to bite them.
It sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
Let's kill them, then they won't be hungry anymore.
And many of the people died. And so they asked Moses to do something about it. So God told Moses to make a bronze serpent and put it on a staff and then have the people look at that. And when they looked at that, then they wouldn't die if they were bitten.
Maybe Jesus is envisioning some kind of staff and people look at it and, they'll be born again.
Yeah, he is. The staff is going to be the cross that he's going to die on.
Oh.
He said, "As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so the Son of Man will be lifted up." Son of Man is him. He's talking about himself.
Yeah.
And so Jesus knows, I guess, that he's going to die, and he's predicting how he's going to die. He's going to die in a crucifixion, and he's going to be raised up on a cross, and people who look at him
will
be
born
saved.
Again.
Yeah, I guess, but they're going to be saved in the way that the people that looked at the serpent, the bronze serpent,
on the post,
were saved from their snake bite. So I guess they're going to be saved. Jesus is going to save them by dying on the cross, and I suppose sort of somehow be born again.
You having to take all that time to explain that to me?
Yeah.
Shows me that it's not necessarily clear.
No. No. But it's the story is in Numbers chapter 21, and that's what he's referring to.
Okay. Jesus went on. "God loved the world so much that he gave his only son so that whoever believes in him will live forever." I've never heard that before.
Yeah, that's not the way it's phrased in the King James Bible, but you've probably heard that before.
Or read it on billboards.
Yeah, this may be the most quoted verse in the entire Bible. Certainly would be right up in the top 10.
It's right after the born-again explanation.
Yeah, it's part of the born-again explanation, I guess, that this is how you're going to be born again, it's how you're going to be saved. God loved people so much. That he's going to send his only son to be killed so that he won't hurt other people.
It's weird, isn't it?
Torture them forever.
So you think God loved us people so much. Didn't he love his son as well so much?
He did. But see, remember how God told Abraham to sacrifice his son? And he was rewarded for being willing to do it? Well, God's going to be willing to do it too. And only he's going to do it. Right?
Yeah.
The only difference is that, it's going to be temporary. He's going to raise him up afterwards. But it's quite the show of something. How could you be more messed up than that? I'm going to save you by killing my son, who's innocent, so that I don't punish you for things that you never did.
Yeah. I'm going to save you from my awfulness.
Yeah.
By making my son go suffer through all this awfulness.
By killing him.
Yeah.
I'm going to have him killed so that I don't have to torture you forever for not believing in him.
And we're so lucky for that.
Yeah. God so loved the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus goes on to say in verse 18, Whoever believes in the name of God's only begotten Son is not condemned, but whoever doesn't believe is condemned already.
Already?
Yeah, if you don't believe, you're already condemned.
Uh-huh.
Calvinists believe that everyone is either saved or damned at birth. God knows from the very beginning, and there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing that is clear, if you believe John 3:18, is that whoever believes is not condemned, and those who don't believe are condemned.
Verse 22. After this, Jesus and his disciples went to Judea, where he baptized people. Remind me again, where was Jesus before?
Well, he was in Jerusalem at this time. Jerusalem is like the capital of Judea.
So he's in Judea.
So it doesn't really make any sense.
Okay.
One thing that's very interesting about this verse is that we hear that Jesus is baptizing people.
Oh, yeah. Before it was just John the Baptist who was baptizing.
That's right. And so Jesus is baptizing people, and this is the only verse in the New Testament that says that Jesus baptized people. Some question John the Baptist, saying, Rabbi, the one you bore witness to when you were across the Jordan is now baptizing people.
So they're narking on Jesus for baptizing people.
Yeah, Jesus is baptizing people, they're saying to John the Baptist. He's kind of got your stick going on there. Yeah?
Yeah, and he's going to steal your apostles too, by the way.
Yeah, and he does.
Uh-huh. So John the Baptist said, I am not the Christ. He will become more important while I become less.
The Father loves the Son and has given him power over everything. Whoever believes in the Son will live forever. The wrath of God is on everyone who disbelieves. So there we have it again, black and white. You believe and you'll live forever.
You don't?
Disbelieve and God's wrath is upon you.
How about good acts?
It doesn't seem to be involved here. So far in the Gospel of John, there's only one test. You have to be born again, and you have to believe. And if you do that, then everything's good. Otherwise, you're condemned and God's wrath is upon you. So far, we don't have any moral guidance at all about how we should live our lives. We're only told what we should believe.
Chapter 4. When Jesus heard that the Pharisees said that he baptized more disciples than John, though Jesus himself didn't baptize, his disciples did, he left Judea, passing through Samaria on his way to Galilee. Really? Jesus wasn't baptizing?
Yeah.
His guys were?
In the King James Version, that part there about though Jesus himself didn't baptize, his disciples did, is there, and it's in parentheses.
So it's a parenthetical.
It's an actual, literal parenthetical.
Yeah, it's kind of like John the Baptist.
Yeah, kind of like. Yeah. So in the previous chapter, it said that Jesus was baptizing people, and he was kind of getting a little bit of, not trouble, but people noticed, and they talked to John the Baptist about it.
Thinking there might be something wrong with
it. It was kind of a deal. He was baptizing people.
Yeah.
But here, it says that he wasn't, it wasn't really Jesus. It was his disciples that were baptizing. When Jesus heard that the Pharisees were saying that he baptized more people than John, he left Judea. He kind of ran out.
He feels like I might be in trouble here.
Yeah, he decided to leave Judea because he thought he was in trouble for baptizing more people than John the Baptist.
Like there's a rule. There's a cap. You can only baptize so many.
Maybe it's illegal or something. I don't know. It's certainly not very Jewish.
No.
Jews don't get baptized.
No. While Jesus was resting at a well, a Samaritan woman came to get water. Jesus said to her, "Give me some water to drink."
The woman said to Jesus, "Why is a Jew asking a Samaritan woman for a drink? Jews don't talk to Samaritans."
Jesus said, "If you knew who was asking you for a drink, you'd ask me for living water."
She said, "Sir, the well is deep, and you don't even have a bucket. Where are you going to get living water?"
Jesus said, "Whoever drinks this water will get thirsty again. But those who drink the water I give will never be thirsty and will live forever."
Jesus is asking for a drink of water, and then the woman is saying, "How come you're talking to me, a Samaritan?" He says, "Well, if you knew who I was, you'd be asking me for living water." And then she says, "You don't even got a bucket."
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
You're asking me for water.
Yeah.
Then the woman said, "Sir, give me this water so I won't get thirsty or have to come to this well to get water."
Jesus said, "Ask your husband to come here."
"I don't have a husband."
Jesus said, "Yeah, you're right. You don't have a husband. You've had 5 husbands, and the man you're with now is not your husband.
And the woman said, when the Messiah comes, he'll teach us everything.
Jesus said, I'm the Messiah.
Uh-oh. The woman went away and said to the men of the city, come see the man who told me everything I ever did. Isn't he the Christ?
And everyone went to see Jesus. So the things that stand out here to me is that Jesus is insulting, condemning, rudely remarking on the fact that this woman has had 5 husbands and she's living with someone now who isn't her husband. So he's kind of slamming her, right?
Yes.
A woman does not have a right to have more than one husband. She can be divorced, but she can't divorce her husband. He's basically saying you're a slut.
Mm-hmm.
According to the law, you should be stoned to death. There's this feeling here that he has met a sinful woman.
Yeah.
She knows that he knows about all of her sinful past. Jesus is revealing something personal about her that's really none of his business. He's sort of condemning her at the same time. Say,
Yes.
I know all this horrible stuff about you.
She goes away saying, hey, come see the guy who told me everything I ever did.
Right.
Like, is she impressed with that? Like, you can't tell her expression. That
She's totally amazed.
And she's converted now? Is she born again?
She's converted.
Okay.
Yeah, she thinks he's the Messiah. Isn't he the Christ?
Yeah.
This Samaritan woman, who is not really a Jew, is now accepting the Jewish Messiah.
Yeah.
Supposedly, Jesus is claiming to be that. So she's convinced and
Telling other people about it.
And she's doing that because he knew everything I ever did. How could he know that if he wasn't special?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
He may have heard. You know how he might have known that?
Uh-huh.
He might have been hanging around that
That
well for a
well.
while. And,
Yes.
and he talking to the people at the well, saying, see that lady over there? Yeah, she said 5 wells.
Uh-huh. So it looks like Jesus didn't get any water out of that whole deal.
She probably didn't get the living water.
Probably not.
I think that
she ran away. She
the
was kind
living
of scared.
the living water, I think he's being, symbolic here. That you'll never get thirsty again because you'll believe in me, and that means you'll go to heaven, or I don't know what, but it'll be good.
Yeah. Verse 43. After 2 days, Jesus left Samaria and went to Galilee. Got in his car again.
Yeah. Jesus said, a prophet isn't honored in his own country.
There was a nobleman in Cana of Galilee whose son was sick. Oh, that's where the wedding was, in Cana, wasn't it?
Yep. When he heard that Jesus was in Galilee, he went to ask him to heal his son. The nobleman said to Jesus, my son is dying. Please help him.
Jesus said, go away. Your son will live.
As the man was leaving, his servants met him and said, your son is alive. He asked when his son recovered. They said, yesterday at the 7th hour.
Since that was when Jesus told him that his son would live, the nobleman believed along with his whole family. This was Jesus' second miracle.
Yeah, or sometimes it's called second sign.
Chapter 5. After this, Jesus went to Jerusalem, where the Jews were having a feast.
So that's another 100-mile trip that he's taken from Galilee.
Maybe
down
he
to
has a
Jerusalem.
jetpack, and he's just going back and forth.
Yeah.
Like the Jetsons.
Maybe, yeah.
At the pool of Bethsaida, there were many sick people waiting for the water to move.
Because sometimes an angel would come down and trouble the water, and whoever stepped into the troubled water would be healed.
Oh, clever.
Yeah.
A man was there who had been sick for 38 years. I wonder if he'd been waiting for the troubled water for 35 years.
Maybe so. When Jesus saw him, he said to him, would you like to be healed?
The man said, I don't have anyone to help me get into the water, so others get in before me.
Jesus said, stand up, take your bed, and walk.
And immediately the man stood up, took his bed, and walked. Okay, so he didn't even have to get in the water.
No. The Jews said to the man who was cured, it's the Sabbath day. It's not legal for you to carry your bed.
Later, Jesus saw the man he'd cured in the temple and said to him, don't sin anymore, or something worse will happen to you.
The man left and told the Jews that Jesus had healed him. So the Jews plotted to kill Jesus for healing on the Sabbath.
But Jesus said to them, my Father works on the Sabbath, and so do I. The Jews wanted to kill Jesus even more after this, since he called God his Father, making himself equal to God.
He says, my Father works on the Sabbath, and so do I.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his Father doesn't work on the Sabbath. That's the whole point of the Sabbath.
That's right.
He worked on 6 days, and he rested on the Sabbath. And that's where the Sabbath comes from. His Father doesn't work on the Sabbath.
He rested.
He rested, and so that's what we're supposed to do.
So why do the Seventh-day Adventists, or Adventists, their day is Friday night to Saturday night?
Well, so is it for the Jews.
That's
the seventh day.
Okay.
That first day is Sunday.
Oh.
And the 7th day is Saturday.
Thanks for clearing that up for me.
And it starts Friday night with the Jews. The days start at the evening.
Yeah.
It's evening to evening.
Okay. All right, verse 19. Jesus said to them, "The Son can't do anything by himself. He does whatever he sees his Father do."
For the Father loves the Son and shows him everything he's doing.
The Father raises people from the dead, so the Son will raise whoever he wants from the dead.
The Father doesn't judge anyone. He's left all judgment to the Son.
Everyone should honor the Son, just like they do the Father. If you don't honor the Son, you don't honor the Father.
Whoever hears and believes my word will live forever.
Dead people who hear the voice of the Son of God will live. Soon all the dead people will hear the Son of God's voice.
And they'll come out. Those who did good will live, and those who did evil will be damned.
If I am my own witness, my witness isn't true.
Search the Scriptures. They tell about me.
I know you, and you don't love God. I won't accuse you to the Father. Moses accuses you.
If you believed Moses, then you'd believe me, because he wrote about me.
But since you didn't believe him, you won't believe me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is a lot of contorted stuff here.
It's a long speech, and it's typical of John. Jesus talks a lot in the Gospel of John, and I've reduced it a little bit, but I want to have enough to get the flavor and the tone.
I think you got the flavor. I think you got the tone.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Sure.
Okay, listeners, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.